Hello and welcome to my podcast, Up Your Total Glow, your podcast for your body, mind, and soul to support, guide, and empower you to uncover your most glowing, healthiest, and feel good version of you. I am super excited that you're here because if you ask me, there's nothing that looks and feels better. In today's episode, I'm speaking with the absolutely brilliant James King. James is a health and nutrition coach, wellness content writer, ski instructor and race coach, and owner of Plant Fuel Focus, which is a wellness brand. James has made it his life goal to educate and inspire others about how to improve their energy levels, maximize their potential, and show up as the best version of themselves. In this beautiful interview, James shares with us how he has turned his own lifestyle around because he has not always been that healthy. He also shares with us about, among many other things, why coaching is so incredibly empowering, how you too can make positive lifestyle changes in your life, and why a one-size-fits-all approach to diet does definitely not work. He speaks about exercise and stress management, and like I said, this interview is rich in knowledge and wisdom. So if it is your goal to uncover a healthier version of you, to improve your energy levels and maximize your potential, then this episode is a must listen for you. So please enjoy. Hello and welcome, James. I am so excited that you're here with me today. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy that we're doing this. I've been looking forward to this for a little while, so I'm glad we're here.
Yay! Same for me, because James and I actually have studied at the same institute. So I feel there's a lot of alignment, between us, and I can't wait to dive into this conversation with you. So maybe to head it off, could you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So my name's James. If you can't already tell by the accent that I'm British, but currently live in Bali, so a little bit far away from the UK at the moment. And yeah, as you guys may already guess from the fact that I'm on this podcast, then I work in the health and wellness industry as a health coach. Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. And I would love to hear a little bit about your journey. So where did it all become? Have you always been interested in health and wellness? Have you always lived a super healthy life? Tell us a little bit more here. What's your journey?
Smiling because, most of that's not true because I haven't really lived a healthy life and I haven't always been interested in health. So I guess my journey is a little bit different to some other people in the health space. But I actually grew up working in the ski industry, working as a ski instructor and a ski race coach. So when I left school, I wasn't that interested in studying. I was more interested in partying. And since I was a good skier, I found that if I could work in the Swiss Alps or the French Alps, or even in Japan and China in the mountains there, and I could kind of find something to do where I could follow my passion, and then also kind of enjoy a few nights out and a few drinks and a few missed hours sleep. So I just found myself kind of in that routine for a long time where people looked at me as an athletic sports coach. But in reality, I was smoking cigarettes, drinking beer, and eating pizza, and sleeping 2 or 3 hours a night. So that was kind of my induction into kind of sports. And although people thought I was kind of a health and wellness person off the back of that, it really took me a long time until kind of my mid-20s, when I was already 10 years into working in the ski industry, to realize that, maybe I'm not invincible. I am quite tired. I don't feel that great. I'm not really in good shape. I'm smoking cigarettes, I'm eating ice cream almost every day, and for some reason I need to go and take a nap every day at 4 p.m. when all of my friends are going to the gym. And how come that is, So I just couldn't figure out why I was so tired, lethargic, lacking motivation to do anything other than work. And yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me. And that kind of led me on a journey of discovery where I started researching health, started slowly improving my diet, implementing things that made me feel better, reaping the rewards and the energy that came out of that. And then in the end, kind of expressing that to other people in a way where they were coming to me for help. I was helping them, and I ended up kind of formalizing my qualification in health. And here I am, I guess.
Mm, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love, yeah, your authenticity in this journey, because I think we can all somehow relate to this. You know, I feel we understand ourselves through experience mostly. And yeah, I think we can all understand that, yeah, it sounds good, you know, to do this and that, but we also want to party. We also don't want to go to bed. You know, we want to eat all the junk foods. So yeah, I love that you really shared this so authentically with us. Not my word today. Also, I love that you then, you know, created it. So you changed, transformed yourself, noticed how differently you feel. And obviously others noticed that too, came to you to ask you, you know, what has happened? What are you doing? And now you are making it your mission to help others with that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. Okay, I would love to hear, because I feel that, you know, tiredness, sluggishness, burnout, these are all things that most of us struggle with these days. So, what do you think? Why do you think this is the case? And what can one do to change that, to be full of life and vibrancy again, like you are?
That's such a big topic, and I think that the idea of kind of energy and optimizing energy is a really, really big umbrella under which sit everything known to man, which is kind of related to health. When we're talking about fitness, we're talking about vitamin and mineral deficiency, we're talking about overweight and obesity. Like every single aspect of life seems to play into our production of energy. Something I realized over time was that it's not normal to be tired all the time.
I
And
agree.
I feel like we live in a society where everybody thinks that it is normal because we're told, oh, everyone's working so hard and we've all got so much stress and we're all trying to do all these chores and we've all got to take care of the kids. And in reality, that's true, but that's been true for the whole of human history. So how come it only seems to be the last 20, 30 or 40 years where everybody feels that after 8 hours of work, they need to come home, lie down on the sofa and watch Netflix for 5 hours to recover? Especially on the basis that most people are actually sitting for 8 hours of that day and not actually getting any movement done. So in reality, if we look back to 100 years ago, everybody was farming, everybody was active, everybody was cooking, there was no Uber Eats, everybody was playing games after work, you know, they were probably out in the garden playing football rather than watching Netflix or playing on their iPhone, and people were active all the time. And from my understanding is that they weren't exhausted all the time. Maybe they were exhausted when they went to bed at 10 p.m., but they didn't need a nap in the middle of the afternoon. So there's something there which is just not normal at the moment. And what I established during my time, obviously working in the ski industry, was that I was exhausted all the time, you know, and it was affecting my life in ways that I didn't realize, because I thought, again, it was normal for me to be sleepy in the afternoon when I was trying to teach my lesson. I thought it was normal to have brain fog half of the time because I was waking up feeling really dizzy and tired all the time. And all of those things were just affecting my life so much. And I wasn't performing in work. I wasn't doing exercise. I wasn't performing in my relationships. I didn't care about speaking to anyone else. I only cared about myself because all I wanted to do was nap and eat junk food and relax and try and take my mind off the fact that I felt like crap. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is I just think this is such an important and overlooked topic. And if people can really try and nail down the different aspects of health that can improve energy, then every aspect of their life is going to flourish.
I fully agree. And when I look around me, I also feel absolutely the same thing, that we have created this as our new normal, or most of us have, and then also believe, that is completely normal to, have problems with your heart health, with your blood lipids, your blood sugars. That's just an age thing. We don't have enough energy anymore, of course, because we are stressed, we are burned out. That's normal. It's normal that we have all these cravings. It's normal that we put on weight around the middle. That's, it's just an age thing. As we age, that's just normal. And I'm thinking, no, no, that's totally not normal. Of course, we are aging over time, but we can still be full of vitality. And I, for myself, feel much better than I did in my 20s. And I'm in my late 40s now. And so I definitely know this is not true. This doesn't have to be true. If we, find a way to support our bodies, I guess the way they were meant to flourish, they were meant to always live, because you mentioned that, in an earlier era, people were way more active and didn't feel so burned out and didn't need all this junk food and then needed a nap after and all these things. And I absolutely believe this is to be true. So can you, or what, in your opinion, do you think are the true reasons for this burnout, low in energy, lack of energy? So you mentioned junk food, you mentioned stress, you mentioned a sedentary lifestyle. Is there anything else that you feel that contributes to this?
I think also like exercise is obviously something else that would play into that, obviously with that sedentary lifestyle. And it's just a case of, of course, if you're not exercising at all, then your body is not used to movement, then everything's going to feel tiring. To a well-trained athlete, then getting up off the sofa doesn't really take very much effort. But for somebody who's 30 pounds overweight and not eating a good diet and not used to physical activity, then even just getting up off the sofa and walking to the kitchen and back is going to take a lot more effort than somebody who's well trained. So I think that's a really big segment of it. Something that I really want to focus on this question is just this idea of stress that you brought up, and this idea of mental health and how it kind of underpins energy. What I realized in my younger years was that this idea of anxiety and this constant anxiety that we seem to have, like kind of rolling through our society, which we've never seen before in human history, by the way, up until 100 years ago when we started paying credit card bills and taking out finances on cars and worrying about what's going to come in the mail. Until this point, we've not had this kind of underlying anxiety on a chronic level. I think that chronic anxiety and that constant rumination in the brain causes actual physical tiredness as well. And that's something I can attest for, again, in my younger years when I wasn't living such a healthy lifestyle, I definitely had higher levels of anxiety. And I remember feeling mentally tired as well. And that mental tiredness convinced me that I was physically tired. And I was just kind of crashed out and burned out all the time. So I think incorporating some kind of stress management technique and some kind of sense of community is one of the key foundations as well to improving energy.
Beautiful. I absolutely love that. It almost feels like, movement, what we did earlier in earlier times, or some of us still do, being active, got replaced by this rumination in our minds, in our brains. And now this is where all the activity goes. But this actually creates in our physical selves more stress, higher cortisol levels, higher insulin levels, and it goes against the way we were actually created, because I believe, or I feel very strongly about this, that we were created to move. We are just meant to move. It doesn't mean that everyone has to be a ski race athlete like you. We are all created in very different ways. But I do think we were all meant to move to be the best version of ourselves. Another thing that I love, and I can so strongly relate to what you said, is I feel that, if we, like you mentioned, someone who is on the couch and overweight, it takes so much effort to then start moving, very different to someone who maybe has the cell memory and also the actual memory of, okay, I can do this, and I've got, you know, some endurance, some strength already built. This is a very different story. And I feel if we don't even know how amazing we can feel, it's really hard to work towards this. Does this make sense what I'm saying? Can you relate to this too?
Absolutely, yeah. It's just a really good point. I think everyone's just forgotten, or at
Yes.
least a lot of us have forgotten what it's like to actually feel good.
Yes,
And just the
exactly.
normalization of poor health. And
Yes.
also, off the back of that, the normalization of poor health decisions. It's
Yes.
almost abnormal to go to the gym 5 days a week. It's abnormal to eat healthy most of the time. And it's abnormal to turn down the donut when somebody walks into the office and they've just been to the donut shop.
Yes.
And that's something that we need to normalize again. I think we need to normalize health again in order to restore our energy levels, so people can remember what it's like to get home from work and then go to the gym and then cook a nice whole food dinner and then spend time with their family, not in front of the TV, but maybe playing a board game or out in the garden playing football, and then going to bed at 10 p.m. actually physically tired. Because what's funny,
Hallelujah. Yes.
perceived tiredness versus real tiredness is also something different. I mean, we're talking about people coming back from work and being too tired to do anything else.
Yes.
And then they get into bed at 11 p.m. and they can't sleep.
Yeah.
Because in
Absolutely.
reality, they haven't done anything to earn that sleep.
Yeah.
We've been sedentary all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love the differentiation that you make between this mental tiredness and this physical tiredness. And I can, so relate to this because my husband and so my husband is constantly mentally exhausted after work, but he has been sitting all day long, whereas I'm a very active person, also obviously through my work. And I'm like, why are you so tired? You have hardly moved. And it took me a long time to really understand where he is coming from. So I love that you are pointing this out. So have you got any actions or any hacks how, if someone feels like this now and, you know, is ambitious about their career, but also wants to start become healthier, but at the moment everything is just so hard, do you have any hacks what they could do, how they could go about this?
Interesting question. I think that somebody in that situation, what I don't want them to do is sign up for a gym membership, take out a personal trainer for 1 hour per day, 7 days per week, and then go into the cupboards and throw away all the junk food and then commit to doing meditation for 1 hour per day.
Awesome.
In
I love it.
reality,
Great answer. Yeah.
yeah, in reality, that just doesn't work. And,
Yeah.
you know, the way that I look at life, I'm thinking, okay, what can I do for long-term sustainable success in all different areas of my life? And in reality, for 9 out of 10 people, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
It might be sustainable in 1 year once you're already fit and healthy and once you already get into some routine with it. But at the beginning, I think we need to make it incredibly simple. In reality, if we look at tackling all of the different buckets of health and the way they relate to energy, if we look at something like stress management and community, it doesn't mean that you even have to meditate at all.
Yeah.
It means that you could turn off the TV in the evening for 20 minutes and talk to your family or play a game together, which doesn't involve screens. Or it could mean instead of eating dinner in front of the television, you eat dinner around the table and talk together as a family. In terms of food, it could mean you spend some time with your family cooking the meal rather than ordering from Uber Eats. And then that way you're getting community and cooking and healthy food at the same time. And then if you wanted to follow that up, you could take a 5 or 10-minute walk after the meal. And then that's going to stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to improve digestion. It's going to give you some fresh air, and it's going to give you 10 minutes of exercise, which is a lot better than the 0 minutes that many of us are getting at the moment. So I just think these really, really small and simple changes are the route to long-term success. And all I want to do is support people in finding out what tiny changes work for them. Because I feel like we live in a world, again, where we're told on social media, okay, the optimal way to exercise is 6 days a week for 1 hour per day. And you must be doing this much meditation. And God forbid you have 10 grams of sugar at dinner, because otherwise the world's going to come to an end. And in reality, all that does is make people either scared of food or just shut off social media and say, I can't deal with that anymore, and go back to the way they were eating. So let's find a way working together that is sustainable for people so that they can see some results long term.
Again, absolutely love it. Have I already mentioned that I love you and your work and what you're about? I think this is absolutely awesome. And again, I can so relate. So what you're saying is meet the client where they are at and then create sustainable, very small action steps so that they can actually feel empowered and can do this and can start to feel into how amazing those little changes make them feel, so they want more of this, because yes, all of a sudden they have more energy and it's not this whole huge mountain of I am here, social media is there, and actually I feel so alienated and out of place that I will just do more emotional eating because I can't see any other way through this. So I love, I love what you have just said. And I think this is so empowering and super powerful. So please keep shouting this from the rooftops. Amazing. So what, if we could say now, let's create a few pillars around what healthy eating is for you. What would you say is healthy eating then? If someone, wants to go a step further now and they, maybe are trying to live a healthy life, but are confused by all the different things that they get told via social media or Google, and things haven't really worked for them. So do you have some pillars of healthy eating that you could share with us?
Great question. Again, it doesn't have to be complicated, even though social media says that it does.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be dogmatic. And
yes.
this is another place where I get really frustrated with social media, because, does it really matter to the average person whether we need to eat vegan or paleo or carnivore or Mediterranean or low carb or keto? In reality, how about we just eat whole foods, and how about we just stop listening to all of these influencers, and how about we just eat in a way that actually works for us and for our lifestyle, and that makes us feel fulfilled, and that makes us actually enjoy life, and that allows us to eat in a way where we have a stable body weight without needing to calorie count and without needing to put in severe restrictions and all of that. Because at the end of the day, we're all led to believe that we're told this way is the right way and that way is the right way. And in the end, people are just so confused, they're just going to shut everything off and go back to what they were doing before. And in my opinion, food doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't need to be black and white. It doesn't need to be good and bad. In reality, it could be, okay, how do I feel? What foods do I enjoy? How much food do I need to eat in a way where I feel full, but not over full? And how much exercise do I do? And then maybe I should just eat an amount of food that's appropriate for the amount of exercise that I do.
Beautiful.
I think that's a pretty good starting point. And, whether you want to eat sweet potatoes or rice or chicken or legumes, I don't care. All I care about is that you don't feel restricted, you feel happy, and you feel energized. That's all that matters.
Totally awesome. I feel exactly the same. And what I'm hearing that you're saying is, eat in a way that uncovers the best version of you, so that you feel full of energy again, that, you enjoy the food, obviously, and that all those cravings go away, that if you need to lose weight, if this is not the weight for your best health, then as a side effect, as a byproduct, it will come off if you support your body in that way. So I absolutely love that. And I also love, that you're saying, stop all those categorizing, those dogmatism around, you have to eat paleo, you have to eat vegan, you have to do this and that. Because in the end, what I'm hearing you saying, and I totally agree, we are also very different and we all need very different things. You know, like we have a different age, a different health background, different activity levels, different taste buds, you know. So yes, what I'm thriving on for now is different to what I might be thriving on later in life in a few years. And it's definitely different to what you are thriving on. So I love that you, that you said that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure. And it's good that you bring that up because it's just so easy to get swept away with all these dietary patterns, thinking that this way is the right way or that way is the right way, because they all have compelling arguments.
Yeah,
Whether
I
you
know.
look at low carb or paleo or vegan or any of them, they're all compelling.
Yeah,
They all make good points. They all have scientific data showing that they're a good diet.
yeah,
And in reality, they're good diets for specific people.
exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
I don't buy into I don't think that carnivore is the right diet for me, but am I in the place to say that that's not a good diet for somebody who's recovering from ulcerative colitis or
Mm,
an autoimmune disease,
mm,
and maybe that they could do that for 1 month in order to get some restoration benefits before they reintroduce foods back into their diet? I
mm,
don't know. I don't think we have the data to show whether that's good or bad. But
mm,
in reality, what we do have is people saying, this is working for me, and that's why I'm doing it. And
mm.
I'm happy with people saying, this is working for me, and that's why I'm doing it. What I'm not happy with is people coming to me and saying, and by the way, you should also be doing it because this is the best way for everyone.
Yeah,
And I think that's very
absolutely.
dangerous for society as a whole. And it's just completely confusing.
And it's not
And of course,
working. You know, if it was working that way, we would all be super healthy and not have all these health issues. Clearly, it is not working, and it's just very common sense. Of course, we are all different and need different things. Yeah, absolutely. I would love for you to also share a little bit about movement. Have you maybe a few hacks how someone can fall more in love with movement and exercise? You and I, we both come from the exercise background. I have to share, my audience already knows this, but I'm not sure if I shared it with you, James, that at a certain time in my life, I was completely abusing this exercise. I was actually overtraining and not doing or moving my body in a way that it was actually healthful anymore. You know, similar to what you said about not nurturing your body in a healthful way through the foods you're eating or with the sleep. For me, I was abusing movement to make me feel better. And of course, this is not sustainable, and this brings you away from the best version of you. But I love movement, and I've come back to a very beautiful, balanced way of moving. And yeah, I would love to hear if you have a few hacks or a few tips how someone can more fall in love with moving their bodies again, or yeah, in general, your take on that.
interesting. Yeah, what a great point as well about the over exercising, which,
Mm.
you know, it's probably 0.1% of us that are over exercising, but that actually turns out to be quite a lot of people.
Mm.
And, you know, I've been there as well, because when I dropped out of or when I kind of pulled back from working in the ski industry, I was used to skiing for 8 or 9 hours a day, so 6 days a week. So my life has just been exercise all the time. And when I pulled back from that and started working remotely, I found myself sitting or standing for 7 hours per day, and I had all of this pent up energy.
Mm.
And what I ended up doing was going out every day and running for 3 or 4 hours. And where that led me was HPA axis dysfunction slash, or might want to call it adrenal fatigue,
Yeah.
sore joints, and
Yeah.
I ended up being 61 kilograms, even though I'm 180 centimeters tall.
Yeah.
In reality, that was not working for me,
Yeah.
and I felt sick and tired again. So I think that there is a balance there. When we talk about different types of movement for different people, I think there's a lot said about, you know, you should be strength training and you should be doing zone 2 aerobic exercise and you should be doing high intensity intervals and you should be doing some kind of balance or flexibility or mobility work. And they're all great. And in reality, that's all true. If you can hit all of those pillars, then you are going to maximize your health, well-being, and longevity. In reality, is that really achievable for the standard working professional who is working 50 hours per week, commuting 1 hour to the office and back, has 2 kids, et cetera, et cetera. So I think what we need to do is normalize finding a way of moving that is sustainable for the individual, a little bit like nutrition. So what I like to approach my clients with is, okay, what do you enjoy and what can you do consistently? There's no point in me saying you must go to the gym 3 days a week and lift weights. When in reality, if you're telling me that you enjoy badminton, then maybe we should be playing badminton, because I think that's better than nothing. You know,
Totally.
or maybe you're just going to tell me all I have time for is 10 minutes a day to have a walk around the block after dinner and listen to a podcast. And that's okay. But like you said earlier, I need to meet people where they're at. And I think that's really important for coaches, and also for people who are receiving coaching, you know, and for people who are seeking advice around this topic. It needs to be a middle ground here. And yeah, I think studies show that even 2 minutes of moving, I think there was a recent study looking at blood sugar that showed that 2 minutes of movement after a high carbohydrate meal significantly lowered blood sugar. So I think that we are way overshooting on what we think is necessary to achieve some level of health.
Totally beautiful. I love it. Yeah. Oh, I feel I could talk forever with you, James. This is amazing. Where can others find you if they now hear you and say, yeah, totally, James, I need you in my healthy life? Where can they find you?
Sure. Yeah, I could talk forever as well, but yeah, if anyone wants to talk to me more, then you can shoot me a message on Instagram or LinkedIn, or head to my website. They're all under the same handle, which is Plant Fuel Focus. So you can go to @Plant Fuel Focus on social media, or plantfuelfocus.com on the internet. And I did just write a ebook called the 15 Simple Habits for Sustainable Health, which I'm giving away for free at the moment on my website. So if you head over to plantfuelfocus.com and just put in your email address, it will send that right over to you. And it's got a lot of the things that we talked about today, and a lot of adaptable things that might work for you.
Oh, beautiful. That's amazing. And for those who don't know it, James is also a health and wellness blogger and very gifted in his writing. So I would really suggest you get your hands on this ebook while it is free. I will definitely do so. Yeah. James, could you please share with us 3 gold nuggets to kind of either sum it up what you are all about and your mission here, or to just have 3 quick points that again pinpoint for others where the direction they could go if they now want to become a healthier, happier version of themselves?
I think the 3 key points that I would focus on would be: eat mostly unprocessed foods, get as many steps as you can throughout the week, and do some kind of either community work or meditative practice that helps to relieve your stress levels. I think if you follow those 3 very simple steps, then that targets 3 areas that will really help you to achieve maximum energy, so that you can perform at home and in your career and in every other aspect of your life.
Beautiful. So clear, powerful, empowering, and yet again, simple. I feel, you know, these are steps we can all do. So thank you so much. Is there anything that you would still like to say that we haven't touched upon?
I can't think of anything in the moment, but I just want to thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I hope this has opened the door to a few people that health doesn't need to be complicated, and simple things can improve your life a significant amount.
Absolutely amazing. I want to thank you for making our world a healthier, happier place. Like I said before, I absolutely love your work, and I am sure you and I will do some more work together because we are just so aligned. So thank you so much for being so amazing and for doing what you do.
Thank you, Ruth. It was a pleasure. And yeah, it'd be great to do this again sometime.
Take care. If you loved and enjoyed this episode, I would be absolutely grateful and thrilled if you could help me to make our world a healthier and happier place. And you can do so by liking, subscribing, reviewing, and sharing my podcast, because this helps others to find this podcast too. I know that you were born to live your best life and to feel absolutely amazing in your beautiful body, your brilliant mind, and your boundless soul. So what are you still waiting for? Please make sure you do. I'm your biggest cheerleader. I believe in you. Keep glowing. Much love.